He had been a moving force behind the formation of a select committee of the council to oversee the section's activities.
"I've been meaning to speak to you, Kyle, about some of the people who've been recruited for it lately. Hooligans and roughnecks." "Isn't that a bit strong, Alistair?" Rutherford admonished mildly. "By no means. Granted, our standards for temporal service personnel have always been, of necessity, somewhat elastic. But really—" "I grant you that the Special Operations Section's peculiar functions sometimes require blunt instruments," Rutherford conceded. "But remember, all personnel selections are subject to a veto by Jason Thanou, the head of the section. And every Special Operations mission is under the strict control of a service officer of proven experience and probity. In the case of this particular mission, whose return we are awaiting, the mission leader is Commander Thanou himself."
Kung subsided somewhat, for this was a difficult argument to rebut.
"Yes, I suppose Commander Thanou's record speaks for itself. And of course we all have utmost confidence in him, even though he is, after all, an outworlder."
Kung suddenly and belatedly recalled that the third person present was from the colony world of Arcadia, Zeta Draconis A2. He turned to her with an agonizingly embarrassed smile.
"Of course I did not mean to imply that—"
"Of course not, sir." Chantal Frey showed no signs of having taken offense at Kung's gaffe. She was a slender, youngish woman with straight, dark brown hair and pale, regular features. Her nondescript appearance was matched by a personality that was quiet to the point of diffidence, but she could be stubborn in her mild way, and she seemed undisturbed by, indeed barely even conscious of, her somewhat ambivalent status as a returned defector. She had been a member of an extratemporal expedition Jason Thanou had led to the Greece of 490 BC. There they had made the shattering discovery that had led to the formation of the Special Operations Section. The Authority was not operating the only temporal displacer on Earth, as it had always believed. There was another, using technology that allowed it to be small and energy efficient enough to be concealable. Even worse, it was operated by a surviving cadre of the transhuman movement, which had been thought to have been extirpated over a century before. The transhumanist plot they had uncovered in connection with the Battle of Marathon had been a devious and clever one, and its leader, a certain Franco Category 5 76th degree, had possessed a distinct satanic charm. Chantal could testify to that, having been seduced by him.
"I understand your concerns, sir," she assured Kuhn. "But as you know, procedures have been put in place to minimize the risks. Our research expeditions still proceed as before, committed to the past for a set time, after which their TRDs return them to the displacer stage. But now, when they uncover evidence of transhumanist activity, they immediately inform the Authority via message drops."
The leaving of written messages on extremely durable media in prearranged and out-of-the-way locations was the only way extratemporal travelers had to communicate with the era from which they had been displaced backward in time.
When such a message is received, a special operations unit, using the new controllable TRDs, is sent back to that precise point in time to deal with the situation.
"At least," said Kung grudgingly, "it's not the same people you're sending back."
One of the Authority's cardinal rules forbade sending time travelers back to overlapping time frames where they might possibly encounter their own slightly younger selves. He gave Rutherford a look of still unappeased indignation over the one egregious violation of that rule Rutherford and Jason Thanou had engineered.
"No, indeed,"
agreed Chantal.
"Of course, they work with the academic expedition that is already in place in the milieu, but there can be no objection to that."
"Possibly not, but blast it, Kyle, they're allowed to take modern weapons and equipment